Good morning, everyone. Everyone who's watching on the replay or on Apple TV, thanks a lot for joining and spending some time with us this morning. I just wanted to start this scope off with one of the signs that we have up in our house. It's completely about us being really real and just being really genuine. And so we got this just as a constant reminder up in our house. So, good morning. Good morning. Hey guys, thanks a lot for those of you who have jumped over here from Adam Shenemre's scopes. If you're not already following him, please do go and follow Adam Shenemre. He's doing some awesome work over in Melbourne, doing some stuff with Victoria Tourist Board over there under a project called Play Melbourne, which you can check out at playmelbourne.com.au or use the hashtag PlayMelbourne. Thanks a lot, guys, for coming in. Thanks for all the hearts. Thanks for joining me. I'm coming to you today from Sydney, Australia. Unfortunately, the weather is not quite as nice here in Sydney as it is over in Melbourne right now, having just jumped out of Adam's scope. However, it is going to be an awesome day. Every single day is as good as you decide to make it. So I'm going to do, I've started doing things where I'm doing 5-minute scopes. So this is going to be fairly fast paced. So I'm not sure if Danny wants to take the scope after this. I'm happy to pass it on to somebody else as well. So yeah, okay, Melbourne has better weather than Sydney today. Thanks, Danny. But as you can see, it's actually still really bright here, just a little bit overcast and a little bit wet. But we are due for some really good weather later in the week. So guys, if you're new on this scope, my name's Tristan and I run a brand called AllThingsNetworking.com. We help people to leverage social media to tell better stories and to reach wider audiences. It's all about identifying which platforms are going to work best for your business, focusing on that, and making the best use of your time, which is exactly what this scope was going to be about. The title is Stop Making Excuses and Start Today. Adam Shenemre was talking a little bit around the topic of New Year's resolutions and what are your plans. I'm going to challenge you and say don't wait until New Year. Start those changes today. He was talking a little bit about accountability, and it's something that I've scoped quite a few times about this week. It's really, really important to set your goals and your intentions every single day. You shouldn't wait for New Year. You shouldn't wait for Monday. You shouldn't wait for the beginning of next month. Everything you need to do with an intention, and you need to start today. So take a massive amount of action. Set a really high goal. I always challenge people when they set their goals to set them way higher than they think is possible right now. Just in figure forms, I gave an example of people looking at what they're going to do for 2016. If their goal right now in their head is that they want to achieve $100,000 worth of turnover next year, I asked them to change it and move it forward to being maybe 500,000. Because if you were to fall short of that 500,000, you'd still be streets ahead of your original thing, of your original plan. So move forward. And Danny, I don't believe for a minute there's any reason that your business shouldn't be on that kind of level of turnover. And I think one of the big key things here is it's all about systems and processes for businesses, and that comes down to every single aspect of the business, whether it's your social media, whether it's your the processes of making your products, whether it's the process of any of your traditional marketing. It's all about the systems and processes and how you do them. Guys, I'm going to fire a few hints and tips for you here. So anyone who's in here, if you're not already, if you're on an iOS, please swipe right, or if you're on Android, swipe up, or you can tap the little guy in the bottom corner. If you're not already, please hit the follow button, because I do 3 5-minute business scopes a day. So it gives you some hints and tips around social media, storytelling and marketing, and that's all free advice for you guys. And then if you're on that screen, you know where your audience is. If it's on Twitter, share to Twitter. If it's on Facebook, share to Facebook. And if we're connected, and this is a tip if you're in anyone else's broadcasts, if you share to Facebook, tag the broadcaster if you're connected to them. So share to Facebook, and then you can tag the broadcaster when you do that share as well. So thanks a lot for the shares, guys. I really appreciate you passing this message out. Basically, I want to hold a few people accountable. So we've actually we run a a business where we actually mentor and teach 60 businesses over 3 continents, and we strategize with them about around their advertising, around their business processes and things like that. So one of the key things in the reason that it works is we run a network where everybody supports everybody else and people hold each other accountable. Accountability is one of the single biggest things that will make you a success over the coming year. You really need to have a very clear goal and intention on what you're trying to achieve for the coming year, for whatever it is that you're trying to achieve in your business. Apologies guys, I just got to plug my battery in. I've been on Blab this morning. So you just really need to have a very clear intention of what you're trying to achieve, and then let people know. One of the big things about this is the reason that our networking works is because we ask people on a constant basis. We're ringing people. Adam mentioned, the snaps that I send him. I contact Adam every single day. I talk to Adam every single day to see how he's doing, how he's getting on, check in with him. And I actually hold Adam accountable, for making sure that he's keeping on top of those bits and pieces as well. So I'm part of a great community of people who we've connected through Periscope and who are now working together on various different projects, helping each other with business things. So once you've set your goal and know what it is that you're trying to achieve, you need to then tell people, because as soon as you tell people, you now have a level of accountability anyway, because people know. And therefore, as soon as you vocalize it, A, you're affirming it to make it real, and B, those people can then come back and go, oh, how's that project going? And obviously, nobody wants to be that person who says, oh, well, I haven't got around to doing it. So that gives you one level of accountability. Another level of accountability is find someone, get yourself a mentor or a coach, reach out to somebody who will ask you the questions you don't want to be asked. That's a really key thing here, is that person. I said here, stop making excuses. All the time, the most common complaint we get from people we're talking to about social media is, I don't have the time. Not having the time is an excuse that people make for not getting things done. Everybody has the same amount of time in a day. I always reference back to Jay-Z and Beyonce. Look at the amounts of money that Jay-Z and Beyonce make, and they have the same amount of time in their day. What they've done is they've worked out ways to leverage, working with other people, partnering, getting help, reaching out, and people don't. People are afraid to go and ask for that help. There's absolutely nothing wrong in going and asking for help. There's a really good example of this is everybody sees Richard Branson as one of the top entrepreneurial kind of minds in the world, but Richard Branson actually doesn't write his own speeches. He has to dictate them because he's actually dyslexic and struggles with the writing of speeches. He can visualize them kind of in his head, but he can't do that. So he's reached out, he knows, and he's identified what his weakness is, and he's done something about it. The number of people who won't reach out and won't identify their weaknesses, those are the people who are not kind of driving their business really as far forward as they could be. So identify now what your weaknesses are and partner or work with people who complement your skills. Everybody has a different range of skills, and so it's really important to work with and leverage other people who can help you in those areas maybe where if you don't like doing paperwork, then find somebody who does. There are people who enjoy doing different things, so find those people, reach out and partner with them. Accountability, again, talking about time and people not having the time to do things. One of the things that you need to consider here is there's loads of people who are in a 9-to-5 standard job working for somebody else who don't want to be doing it anymore. But their excuses that they're telling themselves is, I don't have time to do it, I don't have the money to do it. There's a really simple thing there. Those people are lying to themselves. For me personally, my day starts at 3 o'clock in the morning. I get up and I do that. Today I decided to have a lie-in and to treat myself. It's really important to do that, to reward yourself, and to celebrate the little victories. I actually nailed a couple of really big things for the business yesterday, and so today I decided to take a lie-in, refresh myself so that I could go in wholeheartedly again today. And I actually have accountability partners in every single time zone. So I've got people who, all the way around the clock, as soon as I log online, somebody is there holding me accountable. Have you done this? And I talk to them about the projects that I'm doing. A lot of people are scared to talk about the projects. Oh, what if this person takes my idea? What if, this person, doesn't agree with it? Things like that. Reach out. Also, vocalizing the things that you're working on. People will give you feedback and they will tell you, they will give you input. It's a really good way to kind of crowdsource ideas for whatever it is that you're working on. Vocalizing it allows people to do that. Also, people are scared to do that. The people who are scared to share their ideas are generally people who are working slowly towards their ideas or not really taking action. If you're taking action and you're moving fast towards what that idea is, there shouldn't really be a problem in telling people what you're doing, because in the world, a lot of people have this misconception that competition is a bad thing. Competition actually does one really, really key thing for you, in the fact that it proves that there's this massive demand for your business. As long as there are multiple businesses doing something in your industry, it is social proof that there is a demand for what you are doing. So if you go into an industry and there isn't a demand, if there isn't competition, the chances are there's a reason for that. And that reason is probably because unless you're really, really innovating on something, it's probably because no one's in that market because there isn't enough demand for it. So it's really kind of key to identify that and not be afraid to talk about your things. So definitely vocalize it, affirm what it is you're trying to achieve, and hold yourself accountable. Stop making excuses. I'm going to touch on the time element again quickly, because the most common thing people say is, I don't have time. When I talk about social media, people say they can't do it. What they mean is, I'm bad with time management. If you look to get help, you put the right tools and processes in place, then the amount of time that you spend doing things becomes less, and therefore you can do it. So I jump back to the example of people in a kind of 9-to-5 job. I challenge them. I did a scope earlier this week about do anything in 20 minutes. If you write your systems and processes efficiently, every single job will be a small job that takes less than 20 minutes. Because as soon as you break it down like that, everything becomes very, very achievable, and you get that sense of achievement, and you celebrate those small victories of getting some of those things done. If you're in that day job and you say you don't have time, start half an hour earlier every day. 5 days a week, it's an extra 2.5 hours you're working towards your goal. Everybody gets a lunch break. You've got an hour at lunch to go and do something towards your business. If you're doing 20-minute segments, that's 3 things a day, 15 things per week you're doing towards your goal. So look at your systems and processes, stop making excuses and take action, and get people to hold you accountable. Affirm everything that you want to do every day. Be very, very clear about what you want to work on. I'm going to wrap up in like 2 minutes, and I don't know if Danny's going to do a scope. I'm happy to pass the scope her way. Thanks a lot, guys, for everybody who's tuned in live. I always love seeing you guys catching your comments. I see a few new faces in here. Loving the hearts and the shares as well, guys. There's another thing here, and this is the reason that I try to keep my scopes really short, is if this message resonates with you, if you're inspired by it, if you think anyone else would benefit from it, remember that Periscope broadcasts are live for 24 hours. So if you've been inspired, it's very, very easy until it becomes a habit to get inspired now and let that feeling drop off. So make sure you're following Danny down at the bottom there, because she's going to scope in a second. It's very easy to let that drop off. So commit now to going back and watching the broadcast again, because one of the key things to forming a habit is repetition. So if you're hearing the same things, the things that inspire you over and over. I run first thing in the morning, and when I run, I don't listen to music. I listen to inspirational speeches when I run in the morning, and that really gets me in the mood for a great day, the endorphins from doing the exercise. And also I'm looking after my health, so I'm looking after myself, and I'm getting that feel-good feeling to start my day. So there's no way I can start in a bad mood, because of a conscious decision and a habit that I've formed to get up, do exercise, and do that first thing as a priority. Getting up and making the excuse, it's wet outside, it's raining, it's whatever. Do something. If you can't get outside, do some exercise inside. So take a massive amount of action today. And in fact, one of the big actions you need to do is share this with somebody who you think needs to hear this message. So if you're on iOS, swipe right, Android, swipe up, and share this, or invite someone specific to see the broadcast. It's really powerful if you're inviting one person into a broadcast, if that's the right message for them. You never know. From a lot of the broadcasts I put out, I get a lot of DMs and things on Twitter and snaps on Snapchat saying, that was the message I needed to hear today. So don't presume that people don't need to hear these things. Think about who the one person is today that you think needs to hear a certain message and invite them to that broadcast, and do it intentionally. That's why I said when you post to Facebook, if you think somebody you know would benefit from a message you're sharing or a broadcast you're sharing, share to Facebook and tag that person. It's very clear that you've picked that person out to hear this message and that they get a notification about it so that they can come and get it. Again, guys, thanks a lot for tuning in. If you're not already, hit the little guy and make sure you're following. I do 3 scopes a day. I'm doing in 5 minutes. So they're normally 5-minute scopes talking around a specific topic. So if you're following, you'll get a notification there. I really appreciate all the shares, everybody being here, all the hearts. I will be passing this over to Danny in a sec. But I just wanted to say a huge, huge thank you, firstly to everybody who's live, everybody who's on the replay, and especially everyone who's on the web. I'm getting a lot of web viewers and a lot of people on Apple TV. So there's Danny down at the bottom. If you want to make sure you follow her, Danny, just throw up a load of emojis just to make it easy for everyone. Make sure you're following Danny and make sure that you've hit follow on here so you catch the other broadcasts that we're going to put out throughout the day today. I'm going to do some growth hacking on how you can save lots of time today. So make sure you watch out for that broadcast. There's Danny. Make sure you're following her. I'm going to scope down and hand the baton to Danny. Make sure you jump over there and I'll be in there shortly, Danny. Thanks, guys.